topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Philadelphia. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where for the last, it's now 17 years, we have brought you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. We do a live show, and sometimes when you do a live show, there's always something that goes wrong. This is one show. What we do is we send a link to our expert, and for some reason, all my emails go to spam. And it's so sad because this is like such an important show, and we're so glad that we have one of the greatest experts in the field of functional medicine. Let me introduce you to our expert, Katie Harris of the Philly Wellness Center.
Hi,
What is with my emails to you?
I don't know, because I was looking for the link. I'm like, how do I get on? Oh my God. So, but glad to be here.
Yeah, oh, we're so glad to have you, Katie. Katie, you know what? I've just been looking at her numbers, and there's so many people finding out about your show. So we have all these new people. Tell us about the Philly Wellness Center.
So Philly Wellness Center, we do really regenerative medicine and focus on hormone health and weight loss. And then we do some regenerative aesthetics as well, because as you're aging, you want to look good, right? But,
Yes.
our main focus really is that hormone replacement therapy, which is really pivotal as you're aging. Like when men and women go into menopause, andropause, and you lose those vital hormones, you start getting all kinds of conditions. Joint pain, women get hot flashes, low libido, low energy, brain fog. It's kind of like, why did I walk into a room and why did I walk in here? You can't remember what's going on. So that's all hormone related. And of course, the weight gain comes with that as well.
Now, do you do this? What do you do for men?
So for men, we'll do testosterone replacement therapy and some peptides as well. So we deal a lot with, for them, low energy and erectile dysfunction. And, testosterone isn't the only thing that's involved with erectile dysfunction. So we do have other therapies that kind of work synergistically with that.
Katie, I read an article the other day saying how important testosterone is, that it heals many parts of your body. And it's like, well, if you read the article, it's the greatest thing since the Hostess Twinkie. Is that really true, though?
It is. I love testosterone, and not just for men. I love it for women as well. So, testosterone is, it's a very powerful hormone. It's vital for metabolic and cognitive aspects. In terms of like weight metabolism, it'll increase muscle mass. Like you can't increase muscle mass without testosterone, which is why it gets harder and harder as you get older and older. It's like, you used to be able to bench press, I don't know, let's say 200 pounds. And now like that's becoming harder and harder for you. It takes more and more effort and you can do fewer and fewer reps. And that is directly related to the amount of testosterone that you have. And then it enhances your mood, right? And this was a big thing for me because a couple of years ago, I found myself just completely apathetic, unmotivated. It almost felt like a depression of sort, but it wasn't depression. It's hard to explain. It's not depression. It's just kind of like I lost all motivation to do anything, even get off the couch and make dinner for my son. Like that's how bad it was. And testosterone reversed that completely. Like it's nothing short of life altering. And that's, I don't mean to be dramatic, but that's really how it was.
I have learned so much about functional medicine. It seems like people are walking around and they know that there's something wrong with their body, kind of like what you said, feeling lethargic, no energy. And the doctor tells them there's nothing wrong with them. And that's really where the Philly Wellness Center comes in. That's
Right.
functional medicine.
Yes, because your labs can look great, and really the labs that they're checking are pretty basic. Like if those labs didn't look good, you'd probably be in the ICU somewhere. So those are things that are vital to live. But there's a difference between just barely living and optimized living. So it's one of those things too that as you get older, you don't want to be bedbound and in pain and dependent on somebody, right? That you want to age with vitality and the ability to move around and be in a good mood and have purpose. And that's not something you're going to get at the doctor's office. They're there to treat symptoms. And, what we want to do is really look at the root cause of what's going on, what defines health in the first place, and how do we optimize that health? And then all the other symptoms start to fade away once you improve the core systems of your body.
We had a lady who has been following your shows for the last 3 months, and she wanted me to ask you, what is a wellness center? What does a wellness center do?
Well, so just kind of like what I'm describing, it's really about how do we prevent things from happening, right? Everybody, people are more inclined to sell their house to get better than to, pay upfront to feel better. But I feel like that's changing, and people are taking a more proactive aspect or route to their health. And, I'm 51 and I'm looking at my parents who are in their 80s, and they are really frail. And that's not what I want for myself as I move into that older age. And a lot of people in my age group are saying the same thing. It's like, how do we prevent that from happening? And there's some role models out there that they are in their 70s and 80s, and they're fit and they're looking good. And it's like, what are they doing? And how can I mimic that? Because I want to be 100 and still driving around and flying around the world and doing new experiences. I don't want to be bedbound.
Yes.
And for us in a wellness center, it really comes back to looking at some core fundamental features. And the first thing I focus on is the cell membrane, because that is the core aspect. Hormones have to attach to the cell membrane. And if the cell membrane's collapsed or it's misshapen or it's got issues, you're going to have all kinds of downstream issues. And then you're going to have mitochondrial problems, which are energy problems. And then you have hormone problems because, you have membrane problems. And it's all disease and conditions will manifest from those three core aspects of wellness. So in a wellness center, we address those three things. And we generally do it through supplementation, diet, exercise, lifestyle.
Gosh, Katie, we start promoting your show 2 days ago, and we have 7 people ask the same question. Do you treat children?
Yes, I do. So I'm a board certified family nurse practitioner, and I treat in the state of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware.
Because one of the ladies is a mother, and she's got an 8-year-old son who has no energy. She said, I hear you talk about testosterone. I don't know if that's something my son needs. How do you test a child for low testosterone?
Well, we would do labs in general, but for an 8-year-old, unless there's, testosterone wouldn't be my first go-to. Kids nowadays, they have a lot of exposures to a lot of different things, right? So there's, the different toxins and the plastics, and these take a toll on our energy. And really, again, it comes down to cell membrane. So people are being affected earlier and earlier ages because the toxins are accumulating, and they are much more dramatic than when I was 8 years old, right? So we are seeing manifestations of this in ADHD, autism, these types of conditions, and low energy. Anytime you say low energy, it's mitochondria. The core is always mitochondria. There's something wrong with the mitochondria, and that mitochondria is the energy powerhouse of the cell. It's like the furnace in your house. It's what's burning fuel. It burns carbs, it burns fat, and it creates energy. Well, if you have cell membrane problems, that energy it's like heating your house but keeping the doors and the windows open, right? It's just going to go outside. Like there's no way to contain the heat, or you have to burn a ridiculous amount of energy, and you're wasting most of it. So if he's got energy problems, that would be one of the core things I would look at.
This is from New Jersey. I really respect your opinion. I don't want this to be a political question. I keep hearing Health Secretary Kennedy talk about autism. Your thoughts?
So my caveat is that I'm completely apolitical, to the point that I have no idea what's going on in the political spectrum, which is probably sad. But it's just, that aside. So I have no idea what RFK is talking about in terms of autism. But when I look at autism, autism is something that you're not born with it. So when babies are born, they have reduced myelination in the brain, right? So the myelin is it's a sheath that's made up of plasmalogens and cholesterol, basically, and it wraps around axons. And axons what connect the neurons. The neurons are your gray matter of the brain, right? That's the most important thing. That's how you talk and walk and learn how to do things, is through neurons. And the neurons connect to each other through axons, and those axons have to be myelinated. When babies are born, they have very, very little myelination. So they spend basically the next 50 years building up myelination. But in that first 6 months, to a year, they are myelinating like crazy, like just building it up. And one of the ways that they do that is through omega-9, which are plasmalogens. And plasmalogens, the only way to get plasmalogens, one, is through breastfeeding, and two, the body makes them when you're fasting. So when you're in a fasting mode, the body will start making plasmalogens. So babies need to eat every couple of hours, and so they get their plasmalogens from the mother, which subsequently depletes the mother. But the problem is that if there's any type of injury during that time, especially while the baby's trying to myelinate, specifically those axons, such as a head injury or nutritional deficiencies, or even a vaccine, like anything can trigger an inflammatory process in the brain that stops myelination. And when you stop the myelination, then you get symptoms of autism. And in older kids, if this happens like at 8 or 9, then you get ADHD. So, ADHD is on the older spectrum of autism. We see autism at the age of 2 to 3. Now, girls are less affected by autism because they have the protective estrogen. Estrogen is extremely protective of the myelin and in the brain for girls. So when girls get autism, it's usually much, much more severe than boys, but generally you have a 3-to-1 ratio, boys to girls getting autism. So it's on the rarer side for girls to get autism, but they tend to have a more severe version of it.
For those of you who are watching today, you see me shaking my head. My daughter is autistic. I don't think she was born with it. I agree with you, Katie. It kind of started appearing when she was 4 years old. Um, and it is severe. You're absolutely right. But my question is, why are we hearing about more and more kids who have autism?
Yeah, I think it's the exposure. So the exposure to all those different toxins and the different. I mean, how much sugar? Because there's a huge gut integration in autism as well. So a lot of autistic kids have problems with constipation and or diarrhea, or they go back and forth between diarrhea and constipation. So there's a huge gut component to it. So part of it is cleaning up the gut because there's a brain gut connection, which connected by the vagal nerve. And so if you have any type of inflammation and going on in the stomach, it inflames the vagal nerve, which inflames the brain. So there's that component of it. So the first step is really cleaning up the diet. The second one is really decreasing that inflammation. And because the body's trying to myelinate the brain, they need a huge amount of resources to do that, and like B vitamins in particular. So an autistic kid will go through B vitamins 10 times faster than a regular kid because they're trying so hard to myelinate and decrease inflammation.
Eddie, I love the way you explain everything. We got a text in from a gentleman. He said, "I've been listening to your show. I really agree with a lot of the things you say. I am thinking after hearing your show that I want to do this hormone replacement therapy. Can you explain exactly what that is?"
So for hormone replacement therapy, well, but first we check your labs to make sure that you're a candidate for it. And then what we do for men is we replace testosterone. So we generally do this with pellets, though you can do it with injections, you can do it with creams, and there's also now an oral medication that bypasses the liver. So that oral testosterone is quite nice too. But the pellets will last for 6 months. And basically what we do is make a small incision in the backside, and I use what's called a trocar to plant the pellets, which are about the size of a grain of rice. And those get planted into a fat pocket. And then what happens is the body develops blood vessels and wraps around those pellets. And then it's based on cardiac output. So if you're out running marathons every weekend, you're going to go through those pellets much faster than somebody that's not quite as active. But generally, they'll last about 6 months, and the body uses what it needs when it needs it. So yeah, it's you'll get a consistent flow. So within a couple of days to the first 2 weeks, the body will attain an optimal level of testosterone and will maintain that for about 6 months. And then so there's
Katie,
no fluctuation, which is really nice.
I've told you before, I've got several friends of mine here in Florida who use the pellets. They love it. They said the first thing they noticed was an increase in energy.
Yes.
And they just felt more vivacious, younger. And I have not heard anything negative about the pellets. So I agree, that's a great way to go. Katie's with us every month. She'll be back again with us next month. Katie, tell people how they can reach you.
So they can call us or text us at the number below. It's 215-709-9710, or you can email us at info@phillywellnesscenter.com. The website also has a chat bot there, so you can reach us, send us a message through that. All of it comes to the same place, and we're a small office, so either myself or my staff members will get that, and we can help you.
Well, listen, Katie, I hope you have a great holiday. We love having you on. I think this is such an important topic, and we're glad we have you. We'll see you again next month.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. That's Katie Harris Philly Wellness Center. We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back with more.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.